It's 8:12. Let's talk to Harold the H.
Hark.
Cock-a-doodle-doo. Harold Peacock, he's our historian. He's going to tell a really good yarn about a dog. Tell us all about the dog and about Ipswich.
Yes, Danny. Like you've been saying, 90 years ago, a man's dog was shot, and the case went all the way to the Supreme Court. But thanks to Ipswich, it got resolved. Because what happened was between July 1932 and September 1933, about once a week, a dog visited a paddock on a Kingaroy farm.
Wow.
Now, this became the centre of the most bitterly waged canine controversy in Australia. And incredibly, it can be traced directly to Adolf Hitler.
Really?
Yes. Now, Hitler was on the rise in Germany and had been appointed the German Chancellor. He was regularly photographed with German shepherds. And while the world feared Hitler's future, it followed a natural hatred by association of the German shepherd. And, of course, since the First World War, the breed here was called Alsatian, and there was a movement to have it banned from Australia. Now, while all this was happening, that dog was visiting the Kingaroy paddock. Now, the Kingaroy grazier, Edward Carroll, he owned the land, and he witnessed the dog among his herd, killing, maiming and stampeding his cattle. Now, he reported that it was an extra-large Alsatian, and that's what grabbed the public attention to the point of hysteria. Right. Now, Farmer Carroll found 8 cows dead and believed that they'd been stampeded and died. And he said, look, they were torn about the hindquarters. He even found a heifer that had a piece of flesh as large as a man's fist ripped completely from each haunch. But then came the showdown with that dog. Now, it was at daybreak on the 17th of September 1933. Carroll was roused by the sound of his cattle bellowing. He got his gun and rushed out. Some distance up the paddock, he saw a mob of cattle bunched together and a dog barking among them. When he got there, he saw a big dog attacking the cattle. It was rushing around and snapping at the calves. Now, Carroll worked the cattle clear and fired at the dog. The dog yelped and made off in the direction of the town.
Right.
And since then, Carroll had no further trouble.
Right.
Now, he heard that the dog had died, but had no proof who owned the dog. That was until one day he was charged with wrongfully and unlawfully killing an Alsatian. Now, the charge was brought by the dog's owner, who was the popular Kingaroy practitioner, Dr. John Cyril Thompson. Now, Carroll now had the proof of dog ownership that he needed.
Right.
And so he sued Dr. Thompson for £252 damages to his cattle.
Wow.
But, of course, the doctor counterclaimed for £100 being the valuation, or his valuation, of his dog. And the action made national headlines.
Right.
You see, lovers and haters of the Alsatian breed proclaimed support for their particular cause. It seemed sometimes as if the Alsatian itself was on trial. And the case proceeded, like I said, Danny, all the way to the Supreme Court of Queensland.
Wow.
Now, Mr. Leopold Charles Marienthal appeared as an expert witness.
Right.
Marienthal testified that Alsatians had been grossly defamed. He claimed that about 90% of Alsatians in Queensland that were over 3 years of age had their teeth worn down below the gums.
Wow.
And they therefore effectively had no teeth to bite with anyway. Now, Marienthal's, I think that's how you say it, his testimony may be seen as a little bit dodgy. You see, not only did he have a suspiciously German-sounding name, he was a car salesman. And he sold Dodge cars and was the campaign director of the Alsatian Shepherd Dog Defence League.
Wow.
So suspicion all over it. The case appeared to hang in the balance until it was revealed that Dr. Thompson, before being transferred to Kingaroy, had practiced in Ipswich. In fact, his sister still lived there.
Ah.
So the search was on in Ipswich for an incriminating witness, and one was found in the form of Miss Gertrude Saunders.
Oh.
Now, Gertrude, or Gertie, was the housekeeper at Ipswich's Lyndhurst Private Hospital in South Street.
Right.
Her sister Eva was the owner and matron, and we also, of course, know the association with Eva and Hitler. But anyway, Gertrude testified that she had a conversation with Dr. Thompson when he was practicing in Ipswich. She asked him, was it true that Alsatians were fond of blood and ravenous like wolves? She said the doctor replied yes, adding that his dog had killed a calf and a number of sheep. Now, Dr. Thompson claimed he couldn't remember Gertrude, although he did recall her sister Eva. But the damning Ipswich evidence was plain to see. The jury found in favour of Farmer Carroll, who was awarded £77 damages. They also found that Dr. Carroll has the same damages as £20. And so that ended the Great Alsatian Trial of 1934, in which the Ipswich evidence tipped the balance at the same time as Hitler and his Alsatians marching to war in Europe.
Oh, mate, unbelievable facts. Damien?
I'm listening.
How good is his facts?
Excellent
and
facts.
his story building?
Unbelievable.
You're a story builder.
Well, it was very easy with history already there, because people hated the Alsatians. Hitler was on the rise, and this was Alsatians killing our cattle, killing the drunk
Dirty,
cattle.
rotten Nazi dogs.
The public opinion wanted to get rid of them.
Yeah, well, I agree with them. Now, can you tell me how we can see this story and others?
Yeah, you can go online to historyouthere.com, and you can also look for History Out There on all the socials, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, all that stuff online.
Harold H. Peacock on West Bremer Radio, historyouthere.com. It's 8:19.